This episode of Small Town, Western New York was made possible by the following supporters. Hi, on this episode of Small Town, Western New York, I'm taking a day trip to a place I spent many long days at as a kid. Swimming or hiking or tubing or fishing or just hanging out in the water. It's one of the smallest places I'm ever going to feature on the series, but it punches way above its weight in overall good vibes. And it has lots of good bones to match. I'm headed to the hamlet of Blossom. Blossom is a hamlet in the town of Elma in Erie County, New York, and like many of the small towns in this area, had its origins with the Ebenezers, being originally founded by the Ebenezer Society as Upper Ebenezer in 1844. Today it encompasses a few small businesses, some older homes, and of course the incredible dam, bridge, and waterfalls. The nearest road and intersection here sees thousands of cars pass right by every few hours, and yet most people passing by this beautiful little spot don't even know that it sits just a few hundred yards away. The standout feature of the hamlet is of course the falls, but just over to the side sits the old Blossom Mill, and together, like an old meant for each other and grown in perfect step couple, they make a strong visual impact. No one's really sure where the name Blossom originated from, although I've heard it stems from the amount of apple blossoms in the area. The main standout feature here in the hamlet is of course the falls, but just next to that sits the old Blossom Mill. Through the life of the mill, it always served as a gathering spot for farmers from surrounding towns to share and exchange ideas, and of course participate in a bit of the local tongue wagging of the day. Thankfully, the mill stood the test of time and really adds so much to the beauty of this place. A few months later, on a much sunnier fall day, I met up with my friend and Elma historian Fred Streif to talk a bit about the history of this truly magical place. And this is your home, you own this, right?
Yes. Well, I turned it over to my daughter. It's been in the family since 1904.
Wow. So it's a farming community?
Yeah.
Primarily, like most small communities around here, right? At the time?
That's right. This was a German Methodist church well, first of all, it started out as a Ebenezer church.
Oh, it did?
Yes, and they tore that. It was a smaller church. They tore that building down and rebuilt the Ebenezer Church.
This is now a antiques, primitives, and gifts shop,
yes.
Really. It's an old steeple.
They converted this to the old steeple to sell antiques and things, 8 years ago, approximately.
Right.
But before that, it had been a church, a Methodist church. And across the street is the Lutheran church, a German-oriented church.
You know, we take things as they are, and we don't realize how much things have changed over the years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Things have changed quite a bit. This was a little bit later Ebenezer house, and owned by the Cooks for, let's see, 4 generations. The last cook passed away about 3 years ago.
Okay. This bridge here is iconic, I think, in the area. If you know the bridge, you'll never forget it once you see it. It's absolutely beautiful. So, at one point, was it covered? I often
it used to be a covered bridge, and then let's see, the time was right around the turn of the century. They put that steel bridge in.
They did.
And it's been there since.
We used to come down here probably at least once a week when I was a kid fishing here.
Oh yeah?
We'd ride our bikes here and fish here for hours.
Now the salmon are coming up. The salmon come up here. Now, as a matter of fact, there's probably somebody down there fishing right now.
So the Holland Land Company had this, and then it was...
Yes. It was sold. Investors bought the place, and it was 5,000 acres, and sold it off to numerous places, and that pretty much Elma is originated from that point. Upper Ebenezer was Lower Ebenezer, Middle Ebenezer, and Upper Ebenezer, and Blossom was Upper Ebenezer. The mill here was built by the Ebenezers and it's been here since the 1840s. And they sawed lumber here. There was a grist mill. It was quite a factory and lasted up until the 1990s.
So, in your honest opinion, what do you think makes Blossom so special?
You know, I don't know. It's a small community. Through the years, it's been a farming community, and people just lived here. It's
because it has a heart here. I can feel it when I'm here, you know, and I tell people all the time to come through here, and when they do and I get their feedback, everybody feels it here, you know?
Yeah, everybody knows one another. It's a small community. People know one another, and it was a livable place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's close to Buffalo, where some people would go into Buffalo and work. There's not much property left here that is not built on.
Right.
So it just stayed the way it is.
Yep.
And the place is lasting.
I truly believe some places in our world hold a bit of intangible magic. Maybe it's the confluence of a place's geography, its architecture, and the good energy of the people that have passed through it, as well as the goodness that Mother Nature can spin when all the elements are just right. And the hamlet of Blossom, for as small as she is overflowing with just that type of intangible but ever-present magic. There are a few places I'm going to share with you on small town Western New York that really hold a deeply special place in my heart, and Blossom is just one of those places. And I couldn't do an episode about Blossom without taking a visit to Mayer Brothers Cider Mill. Now granted, Blossom's just across the road in Elma, and Mayer Brothers is in West Seneca, but it's all part of the same community. And Mayer Brothers is such a Western New York fall tradition that I simply had to include it in this episode.
170 years it's been here,
Yeah,
and
see,
it's
that's
just
why it's what
it
it
grows
is.
every year. I mean, people they love the traditional part of it. We have some pictures on the inside which actually show the original, like years ago. We love the iconic pictures.
So it's a little shack? Was
Oh
it a
yeah,
little,
that's still part of it. What is there?
Oh my gosh,
Is
that was
still,
the original building.
you will
still?
see it. It's part of the original building. If you look
Wow.
at the pictures on the inside, you'll see it's like, my gosh, that was like the spigots were
Right.
outside.
So it's
in
part of
fact-
Western New York's DNA.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, more so than just because I honestly thought maybe like turn of the century. I didn't realize it went back that far.
Oh yeah, 170 years it's been here,
Yeah,
and
see,
it's
that's
just
why it's what
it
it
grows
is.
every year. I mean, people love coming. Like I said, they love the traditional part of it. You know, it's a.
This episode of Small Town Western New York was made possible by the following supporters.